All right, so everybody that's listening to us, we firstly want to thank you for listening. If you're listening to us on the podcasting sites, like, subscribe, share. Again, like, subscribe, share. If you're listening to us on one of the radio stations, we greatly appreciate that also. And definitely keep listening. We're bringing some real good guests. As the election heats up, there'll be more politicians on. We've done that. We're going to keep and continue to do that. We have the president of the UCF Republicans on the program today. She is from New Hampshire, fellow New Englander like myself. This is Mary Conlon here on Fire Breathing Raw. Mary, thanks so much for coming on. Looking forward to hearing a young person's perspective of what's going on in these crazy colleges right now.
Yes, yes, I'm looking forward to it as well.
All right, so let's kick this around. So tell the audience a little bit more about you, how old you are, what you're studying at UCF as we start off the interview.
So I'm currently a sophomore at UCF and I'm studying biomedical sciences, which might seem a little weird. That's why I'm the president of the Republican Club, but it's just always been something I've been really passionate about. And yeah.
So, what does biomedical sciences mean? Obviously, I think of something in the medical field, of course, but what does it specifically mean? Do you know yet what you want to get into, or is that some sort of different field as far as medical? What is it?
So it's basically kind of like a variety of sciences that are connected to the medical field. Like it's mostly biology, but it's also a little bit of chemistry too, mixed in as well as some physics. Just kind of like all the sciences that you would need to have a strong foundation in like the medical field, basically. Like,
Listen, you're way
yeah.
smarter than me. I failed all my science courses, so you're above and beyond me. So we won't even get into that. But, obviously, as I stated, you went to a Catholic school in New Hampshire. Obviously, you're at UCF now in your second year. What made you want to choose UCF? It's a huge school. And I went to Catholic school in Rhode Island, and I was at, 7th to 12th grade. It was about 1,000-ish kids, give or take, kind of small compared to UCF, which is the second biggest school in the country.
I know it's crazy. Yeah.
So what
Yeah.
made you want to attend UCF from being probably at a smaller Catholic school in New Hampshire?
Yeah, it's a great question. So like I originally did not think I was gonna go here because it was so big, but
Right.
I guess it was mostly just I got into the honors college here, which is a really great program. And I also have family kind of near the Orlando area, so it was also kind of convenient. And I've my family's been wanting to move to Florida for a long time. And obviously one of those reasons would be because it's a lot more conservative down here.
Okay.
So yeah, for a variety of reasons.
Well,
But
listen, New Hampshire's not as bad as Massachusetts or Rhode Island or New York. So it's not
yeah,
extremely liberal up there. It is. There are some parts of New Hampshire, as you know, living there that are liberal, but it's not too bad. Let's not
yeah,
make it out to be some kind of psycho
yeah,
liberal place.
that is true. Yes, definitely.
So going into being a Republican, you're still young. Obviously, we have the 2024 election. Is this going to be the first election you're going to be voting in, or have you voted in other elections?
I voted in the last midterm election, so
Okay,
this will be the
2020.
first presidential election.
And you're registered in Florida or New Hampshire?
I'm currently registered in Florida.
Okay, very good. Okay. So with that said, what does a Republican mean to you?
So, I feel like much of the culture that we're seeing in our country today, it's been shifting like very far away from like the traditional values that I would say like our country's greatness has been largely built upon, such as the nuclear family, faith in a higher power, a strong work ethic, and a sense of national identity. And I feel like the lack of emphasis on these values has led to like a lot of the issues that we've seen in our country today, such as the border issues with race relations, gender confusion, and of course all the polarization that we see today. And I think Republican, like a lot of it is just about, trying to shift the culture to refocus the emphasis on these more traditional values to
So I'm,
see.
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry to interject. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Oh no, Mary. And again, for people listening, Mary Conlon here on Fire Breathing Rob. She's the president of the UCF Republicans. We want to go into this. Obviously, you said your parents want to move down to Florida. They're very conservative as far as that goes. Obviously, you're a conservative. How did your love for politics start? Was it that your parents got you into politics, or was it something that just came about because of all the mumbo jumbo that's going on in our country right now? How did it come about?
I would say it would be kind of a combination of both.
Okay.
Because obviously, yeah, my parents are very conservative, but also, like a few years ago, I've really started paying attention to like all the crazy stuff that's been going on in the country. And
Yeah.
I was basically just like, wow, that's that's a lot of stuff that's not so good that's going on in our country. And I think that more like conservative values and more conservatives like kind of fighting for the future of our country would really help that. And I kind of just wanted to be a part of that.
Well, Mary, let's talk a little bit about this because I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you were in high school during COVID, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So obviously New Hampshire, again, a little bit more conservative than, the rest of the New England area. I'm assuming you were wearing masks
Hmm.
in school. Is that correct? Or were you out of school a long time? How did all that play out?
It was kind of weird because obviously, like during the beginning of COVID, we were completely online, like pretty much
Right.
everyone else. But then we kind of like gradually shifted. Like we had these like sometimes like we had like different groups of students that would be in school at one time, and other groups would be in school at a different time, and then we kind of just gradually shifted into it. But I'd say my school, we got back in person like a lot earlier than
Right.
local public
Private
schools.
school. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about that because you went through this during COVID. I was not in school during this time. So how did that affect you? Because I know COVID affected me a lot. Between us and everybody listening knows this. I used to be very far to the left. My change just happened about 2 years ago when I was vaccine injured due to the COVID-19 vaccine. Again, for people listening, we have to say this because we do not want to get censored, especially on the mainstream platforms. The vaccine is safe and effective. You should take it. Get 150 shots. Keep pumping it into you, and it'll help you stay out of the hospital. We do have to say that so we don't get censored. So we want to put that on the record. But it did change me a lot due to the adverse reaction I had with that, and it changed my thoughts on everything about, I'm a Catholic too. I went to Catholic school. I lost my faith a little bit after college. I kind of regained it now due to just opening my eyes due to the adverse reaction that's still going on for me, and just hearing a lot of other people with adverse reactions to this, and just seeing obviously all the gobbledygook nonsense that's going on in our country, which you just stated, whether it's due to the abortion issue, whether it's due to the trans ideology, what's going on in the schools with the pornography. The list goes on and on of the craziness in our country right now. And for me personally, I finally woke up and said, I've been voting Democrat my whole life. I'm 30 years old, and they have not produced anything really to help me in my life, and it's always just vote for this person because it's this other person is some kind of wackadoodle. And listen, I'm not a President Trump person. I think he's getting screwed right now with the court issue. That's not why not a President Trump issue. I'm not with President Trump because of his reactions toward COVID-19 with the lockdowns, and him still pushing the medical uh, juice, we'll call it, that he thinks is so great because he pushed Operation Warp Speed. That's my problem with President Trump. I don't really give a damn about any of the other stuff. But my growing through this crisis has really changed my politics. So I want to get into this with you because obviously 2024 is coming up. So since I kind of talked about why I'm not a President Trump person, what is your case to people listening to this that maybe don't like President Trump of why they should vote for President Trump over President Biden? And just for your information, I'm not voting for Biden. I think he's a scumbag. I voted for him in 2020. It was the biggest mistake of my life. I'm voting for Kennedy. We can go into that if you want to in just a moment, but go ahead.
Um, so the main thing I would say is basically like, I guess like what would the alternative be, you know? I mean, obviously Trump is not perfect
Right.
and but you know, I mean, obviously it's gonna be either Trump or Biden. And I would say that, you know, we do not want another Biden like 1,000%. Yeah. So I would say that obviously, yeah, Trump is not perfect, but he does represent a lot of a lot of good things in my opinion. Like I would say like his stance on you know, I disagree with him with like some things like on abortion and things, but I would say his stance on like the border issue as well as his stance on like the gender ideology is like something I feel like he would be firm with.
Yeah.
And although yes, I do agree that he was wrong about a lot of stuff when COVID happened. But I think that I don't know, like it would be it would not be good if if people would really because like obviously like if we don't vote for Trump, I mean the alternative is gonna be Biden. And I think that would be that's that's a lot worse. And
Well,
yeah.
let's kick this around because obviously Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, I personally never voted for him. I did vote for him in the Florida primary, even though it didn't matter rather at that time period. But I do agree with the governor more so than I have ever in his running for governor. But with that said, wouldn't have Ron DeSantis been a better candidate for the presidency of the United States? He has a record way better, personally, in my opinion, than President Trump could do 100 times over. He's great with any of the trans stuff. He's been doing a great job with the schools. He's banned the lab meat that just came out a couple days back. He is against the mRNA vaccines. He's done hundreds and hundreds of great things for the state of Florida. Again, I'm not a cultist. I won't say that he's, Jesus Christ. There's only one Jesus Christ for that. But I will say I agree with the governor about 70% of the time. And I do think he's doing a pretty damn good job in Florida. There are some things, again, that I don't agree with the governor in. And again, because I'm not a cultist, I don't think that he's Jesus. And I know there's some people that on both sides think Biden's doing a great job and he's the best thing since butter and bread. And there's people that think Trump is Jesus Christ. Those people are in cults. Not my cup of tea. Regardless of that, just to get back to the question, wouldn't you think that Ron DeSantis would be a better candidate than Donald Trump to beat Biden?
I mean, yeah, I think like in terms of like yes, like in terms of like who he is and like what he's done, I think definitely yes, he has a very strong track record of actually getting things done. And I think that is what we really do want in a president. And of course, I mean, he doesn't have like the how do I explain this? Like the controversy, the same
Right.
controversy attached to him that Trump does. Because that's I know there's like a lot of people that are just not going to vote for Trump because he's Trump.
Well,
And
that's
DeSantis,
not me. I have different issues. Like I said, the court stuff, that's all a witch hunt. That's everybody does all that stuff. That's in
yes.
politics. It's all gobbledygook nonsense. My issues, like I told you, is what happened during COVID with Trump. If he did a better job during that time, I would consider voting for him for sure. But as a person that had an adverse reaction from something that he will not go against, which Ron DeSantis has gone against and will continue to go against. And That's why I voted for him in the Florida primary. Even though it didn't matter, it's still about standing up on principle and standing up for someone that is fighting for you. And I believe Governor DeSantis is, and Donald Trump has not really fought for me. That's my opinion, and I will stay with that. But let's go back, and I know we're doing twists and turns as far as where we're going with questions, but I love the free flowing style that we're doing together here tonight. So let's kick this around. Just going back to the UCF Republicans, talk about what you do as president of the UCF Republicans.
So I have just been elected president, so I haven't done that much yet, but I do have
Okay.
a lot of plans.
Well, go
Um,
ahead.
yeah. So I definitely want to get some prominent conservative speakers on campus. Obviously, that depends on like finances and stuff, but
Sure.
I want to make it happen. But also, I definitely want to get a lot more people involved in the club. And I think this being an election year, there's going to be a lot of opportunities for that.
So
And
how is the club as far as people right now? Is there a lot of people in the club right now? Is it, not as big right now, but hopefully, like you said, to get it growing more due to the election year?
yes, so we could definitely do a lot better in terms of membership right now. Like, yeah, I mean, we could definitely have a lot more members. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
No, that's
So that's
fair enough. Go ahead.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
main goal.
What did you say? Sorry, it broke up.
Basically, like recruitment's kind of like our main goal right now.
Okay. So who is working with you right now on recruiting more people?
So, we also have a vice president, a secretary, and a treasurer. So I work closely with them.
Okay.
And yeah, especially the vice president. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about the elections. Obviously, you just spoke about bringing conservative speakers in. That's great. Obviously, we're trying to get people elected with 2024 very close to being upon us. It's very close to happening, less than 6 months away. With that said, you know, what are you guys going to be doing? Are you going to be canvassing for candidates? Are you going to be hosting some sort of events to register people to vote? What's on your plate?
So, we're definitely gonna be working with local campaigns. I've already had like a lot of representatives reach out to me from those campaigns. Um, so yeah, we'll definitely do some collaborations with them, and just basically, I'd say like anything that we can do, we'll try to do. Like,
What candidates are reaching out to you, Mary?
so, like basically like candidates from like all different kinds of campaigns. Like we've had like the representative from Daniel Webster who's running for US Congress for re-election this year, as well as Susan Placencia, who is running for state representative,
Right.
among a few others as well. So we get
Okay.
like all kinds.
Okay, very good. So, as we gear toward the end, and then I do want to have your opinion. We did get some audience questions, so we want to get your opinion on those. But as we go toward the end of this right here, as far as the my questions, um, you know, it seems like you're going into this job, it's an election year, and you guys are gearing up for the summer right now because you're almost out of school. Now you're going to be staying in Florida during the summer to, hang around, work, get involved with some of these campaigns. You're going back to New Hampshire for a while. What are you up to?
So my family has actually moved down here, so I'll be
Oh,
staying
okay.
for like the majority of the time. And I'm also taking one summer class at UCF, so I'll kind of have to stay here. So yeah.
All right. So you're definitely in town. So besides taking the class, will you be working, whether it's in politics or out of politics, before school starts?
Yeah, I'll definitely have a job. Like I'll be working like out of politics, but I'm trying to see like how many opportunities opportunities I'm able to fit into my schedule this summer. Like if that includes like working on a campaign, like I would definitely go for that.
Okay. Right. So let's move on to some of these audience questions. And, these are not really in a good order because we just did get these from people that listen into the program, but I'll shoot these off to you and we'll see what you got. Uh, who's your favorite politician, whether they're in office now or they're out of office or they're dead, whatever it may be?
So I would say like I would actually say maybe Ron DeSantis, like
Okay.
you were discussing earlier, because I think he does have a really good track record of, just going in action and not just talking, like actually like doing stuff. Because I think politicians are very good at talking, but not a lot of them are very good at actually getting the stuff done. I think DeSantis is actually good at that. Like he's done a lot for Florida.
I agree. And as I stated to you earlier on, I'm still a little bit upset that the governor
Yeah.
didn't get a good showing in Iowa, and that didn't trickle on to New Hampshire and South Carolina. But again, that's the past, and we're in a different place right now. So we will move forward with the next question. What issue is most important to you?
So I would say maybe abortion. I
Okay.
am very strongly pro-life, and I think that it is an issue that a lot of girls my age, which would mean like a lot of my friends, feel very strongly the other way. And I think that as a Catholic, that's just been an issue that's been very close to my heart.
When you're on campus and you're talking about maybe you are, maybe you aren't talking about these issues, but if you are talking about these issues, abortion, trans issue, it's college.
Yes.
There's people acting good, a lot of people acting psycho. Uh, but besides the point, what are you hearing from people, whether they're your friends or just chatter around campus as you're walking, chatter in class about some of these issues like immigration, the trans ideology, abortion, the list goes on and on.
Yeah. So I would say that the most of the things I hear, they come from emotions and not
Okay.
real facts. Like, I don't know, whenever I tell somebody my views who doesn't agree with me, mostly they just give like an emotional response as to like, oh, that's not very nice. Like, we should we should do this to like not to be nice to this person and like not really as to what's actually like I would say like they're not really thinking with like as in terms of what's like morally right or as to what the facts are like in my opinion. I think it's a lot of it's just like emotional, and that's what I tend to hear a lot.
I think we've been a little too inclusive in our society, and we got to put the clamps down a little
Yes.
bit. God willing, hopefully we'll have somebody that will eventually put the clamps down. But time will tell. Just moving on, but it's kind of staying with the same idea of this last question I just asked you. Do you feel like you've been at UCF for 2 years? Is it a conservative school, liberal, 50-50? What are you seeing and hearing?
So, I would say that, I mean, it's kind of interesting because I would say that you would think that the school is liberal based on the ideas that you hear the most, but I think there are actually a lot of conservatives on campus, but they're just not nearly as vocal as the liberals. So it seems like there are more liberals, but actually, I would say that the numbers are actually like not that far apart. I think the conservatives we just need to be like a little more vocal because I think the liberal views are the ones that are most expressed. So it kind of seems like the school is a lot more liberal than it actually is.
This is talking about the Israel-Palestine conflict. Obviously, graduations happened at a lot of schools, and we're seeing the interruption of graduations due to this protest. And I'm for people protesting. I would be more happy if people protested the stuff going on in this country rather than
Exactly.
countries thousands upon miles away. There's many issues in this country we can protest. Some of them we've named today, some of them we haven't. I think we should worry more about the people in this country than people in Palestine,
I agree.
Ukraine. The list goes on and on. So, can you talk about what's going on at UCF as far as the Israel-Palestine protests? Are you seeing protests around UCF? And are they big, small? What's going on there?
So yes, I have seen a few protests at UCF. Like during finals week, there was like a march around the campus, and it was like moderately sized, and but like the police kind of kept it in control. But I'm not on campus anymore, like as of like last week, but I've been hearing a lot of things. I know there was an encampment set up on campus, like in the beginning of this week, like there has been at the other major universities, but I did hear that the police have been very effective in shutting it down, which
Good.
I think is good. Yes.
Yeah, I think that stuff needs to stop. It's starting to get out of control. And I think that a lot of these kids, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you're on campus, I'm not. A lot of these kids that are protesting, they really don't really know what's going on in this Israel-Palestine conflict rather, excuse me. They're just seeing what's going on TikTok and Facebook and Instagram and
Exactly.
just going off that. There's also a lot of paid protesters that are coming in and starting up, and they have the loud voices. And that's the big problems. It's that people don't know what's going on and they're just listening on social media. And we know those responses that people are pushing on social media are tainted. And we also know that people are being pushed through there that are they're paid professional protesters, I guess I should say. So, the campus you're saying is pretty much under control. I know Governor DeSantis has made this a big platform. They had an issue at University of Florida also, and they cleaned that up and shut that down too. So you're saying, excuse me, everything's pretty much under control at UCF as far as that protesting stuff.
I would say so, yes.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about the trans issue. That's another big issue that's hitting colleges. Listen, I live right near Disney. I go there all the time. I love Disney. I don't know what they've done to it the past like 4 or 5 years. It's not how Walt used to think of Disney. It's really insane what's going on. It's really sad, honestly. Makes me sad. But we see these people walking around now. And listen, I told you how old I am. I went to Catholic school. We had a couple gay kids, no problem. Nobody bothered anybody. We didn't have any of this trans stuff. In college, didn't have any of this trans stuff going on. Didn't see any of it, whatever. But what's going on is they're trying to push this agenda on people, and you have to accept it. And if you don't accept it, you're a homophobe, you're a this, you're a that. The list goes on and on. What are you seeing at UCF as far as the trans agenda? Because it's a huge school, second biggest school in the country. I'm sure that you're seeing some people that are acting like this. And you're also seeing people pushing this agenda on the campus. Maybe not.
Yes, yes. I actually do see a lot of it. Yes. Yeah. There's
Now,
definitely
how bad is it, Mary?
so I would say that um I feel like in certain areas of the school it's worse, but it's definitely a somewhat prominent thing, at least at UCF.
So you see a lot of this trans agenda at UCF. Is it being pushed? Is it just people that are trans around campus? What is it?
I would say that I mean, it's kind of both, but I feel like the
Oh,
school
wow.
is big enough that you can get away from it if you wanted to. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of concentrated in certain areas of the school.
What
Like
areas is it being concentrated at? Tell the audience.
I would say maybe like the honors college. I do definitely see a lot of that.
So you're
And
in the honors college, correct?
yes,
So you're around these people quite often then.
yes.
Okay. So how does someone that's conservative, such as yourself, do they know that how you feel about these issues, or do they try to flaunt it in front of you? How does all that work?
So, um, I mean, it's interesting because I have like stickers on my laptop, so people definitely know how I feel.
Okay.
But people don't really say that many things to me, which is good, but I can tell that's definitely not the view that's expressed by most people
What
in
type
that.
of stickers do you have on your laptop?
I have like an Unborn Lives Matter sticker as well as one that says anti-socialist social club.
Okay.
So
Okay, so they kind of know what you feel, but it's nothing really derogatory towards them, so they
oh yeah,
don't.
no.
Yeah, yeah, so they don't technically fully know,
Yeah.
but yeah, okay. I was just curious, and I think people listening to this would be curious about that too, because it is the second biggest school in the country. And a lot of people do want to know what's really going on these campuses. Is it just CNN just trying to pump up the energy and trying to pump up the vitriol, for people watching their programming, or is this really going on and it's full fledged? And it seems like at UCF, you're telling me it's pretty prevalent there.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say that it is definitely going on a lot on
Okay.
campus. Yeah.
Okay. So when we talk about the last two questions, you know, I know you're probably going to vote for President Trump. It's probably 99.9% sure. Obviously, I told you I'm voting for RFK Jr. due to his position on the vax, due to some other, I would say, pretty middle of the road to conservative positions he has. What is your opinion on RFK Jr.? I'm just curious.
So he's definitely better than Biden, but I would definitely say I disagree with him on a lot of things, mainly his view on abortion and
Right.
the trans issue as well. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
he did clarify the trans issue that he's against that stuff, but he was
Oh,
unclear before. I agree with you there. He was very unclear. And the abortion issue, he has to sort that out because that was not a great answer. In fact, the woman that's his running mate was trying to, kind of pick up the garbage there on that because she said that she wasn't in favor of that position either. So, anyways, we'll leave that there. But so, for people that may be listening to this in the Orlando area, we did want to introduce you to Mary, obviously at UCF, because she's going to be leading the charge for how long is your term?
it's like for the year, basically.
So, it's
The
next school year then.
Yes.
Okay. So then you serve for the year, and then can you go for a reelection, or you have to give the baton to someone else?
I think I can go for a reelection, yeah.
So what is your take on that? You thinking about maybe, obviously it's early, you haven't really done much, but do you think that you might, try for reelection then?
Oh yeah, I definitely think I might.
Okay, very good. All right, so Mary, where can people follow you? Follow, the UCF College Republicans. Give us all the social media as far as that goes.
Okay, yeah. So we're mainly active on Instagram. So to follow the College Republicans, you can follow at UCF GOP, all lowercase. And to follow me on Instagram, you can follow me at M Connolly 4644, all lowercase. Connolly is spelled Connolly. And yeah.
Okay, Mary Connolly, again, president of the UCF College Republicans. Mary, thanks so much for coming on. Really appreciate you for doing this. And I look forward to continuing this conversation because people need to know what's going on at the second biggest institution in the country as far as colleges. And we also want to hear what's going to go on, obviously, as the election draws closer. And it's not that far away, as we stated earlier. So, looking forward to having you on again and continuing this conversation.
All right. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this. I really enjoy talking to you.